All right, y'all, what are you doing? It's Friday. I have a quick little video. Let's talk. The latest episode of my podcast is now up on patreon.com/AdrianExpression, so do not forget to check that out. Weekly podcast, behind the scenes stuff. Y'all already know what goes on over there at Patreon. So yeah, this video is just gonna be pretty political. There are just a few things that I wanna highlight. But before we get into that, I saw this video. Russian and Ukrainian representatives broke out into physical fights while attending a conference in Turkey. The Daily Beast said this. Videos from the scene appear to show a Russian delegate ripping the Ukrainian flag away from a representative on the sidelines of the summit, leading to a fist fight between him and a Ukrainian official. Another clip shows members of Ukrainian parliament trying to display the flag while a Russian representative was speaking, prompting another scuffle between attendees. Girl, they are at these summits fist fighting, they at these meetings ready to brawl, they're at these courthouses protesting. Like, this is so... I saw that fly across my timeline. I'm like, they fighting in the office. Like I mean, obviously they fighting in the field, as we can clearly see. They fighting in the field and they fighting in the office. This planet is some... Anyway, speaking of the weird, crazy shit going on in politics, Justice Clarence Thomas, you are up. We are ready to talk about you, as clearly we can see the rest of mainstream media is ready to talk about you as well. This is what PBS says. The billionaire GOP donor Harlan Crow, I mean, just the name, no shade if you're named Harlan or Crow or anything like that, but the combination of that shit put together, it gives me super villain tease. Like, it's no shade, but like Harlan Crow. Anyway, The billionaire GOP donor Harlan Crow for several years paid the pricey boarding school tuition for a grandnephew of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. That's according to exclusive new reporting by ProPublica. Justice Thomas never disclosed in official filings that Crow was paying tuition for the boy, who Thomas at the time was raising as his son. Combined with ProPublica's previous report on Thomas and Crow, it paints a picture of a billionaire political donor providing a Supreme Court justice with lavish vacations and purchasing a house where Thomas's mother lives, apparently rent-free. So if you are wondering why people on social media are creating images like the one that you see here, I mean, let's be, okay. Also, this is coming from USA Today. Also, a well-known conservative legal activist who has helped shape the modern Supreme Court arranged for the wife of Justice Clarence Thomas to receive tens of thousands of dollars for consulting work, according to a report Thursday in the Washington Post. Leonard Leo what the hell is wrong with y'all and these super villain names? Bitch, that sound like Lex Luthor. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Do he think he Lex Luthor? What's going on? Anyway, in between the lion's ass name, in between the lion, Leonard Leo, the former longtime vice president of the Federalist Society who helped Donald Trump's administration vet nominees for the High Court, instructed Republican pollster Kellyanne Conway to build a nonprofit called the Judicial Education Project and to pay Virginia Thomas, obviously Clarence Thomas's wife, Jenny, I guess is their nickname. I do not care about nobody's fucking pet name, but it's apparently important in this goddamn article. Let's continue reading. So yeah, Kellyanne Conway was instructed by Leonard Leo to pay, of course, this nonprofit, and also Virginia Thomas, Jenny Thomas, $25,000. Leo made this request in 2012, and Leonard Leo apparently instructed Kellyanne Conway to do this with no mention of Jenny, with no mention of Clarence Thomas's wife on the paperwork. Kellyanne Conway's firm apparently paid Virginia Thomas's firm $80,000 between June 2011 and June 2012 and expected to pay $20,000 more before the end of 2012. but it was not clear what the money was for, although Mr. Leonard Leo told the Washington Post in a statement that it involved gauging public attitudes and sentiments. All right, girl. All right, mama. So, and I'm not gonna stop saying this, while people are getting I'm telling you, getting their rights stripped away, we talking about, I mean, LGBT rights, trans rights, we talking about all these like important decisions that have to be made. The motherfuckers who might have a very heavy hand when it comes to these kinds of decisions I'm talking about, being flown the fuck around by GOP, by conservative ass mega donors and they yachts and shit. These mega donors paying for their fucking kids tuition and shit, bitch. They flying around, girl. They island hopping, bitch. Like, I'm telling you, companies paying companies for doing some work that's not really work. It's just like, what the hell's going on, girl? While these important issues are being tackled in this country, and while people trying to strip away rights, these politicians are literally licking the boot. They are kissing ass, bitch, to get for some coin while people are out here dying and struggling, bitch. Like, this shit is crazy. And then these people have the nerve. It will be these same kinds of like black people who, when you try to have a conversation with them, you know, saying, hey girl, these conservative ideals that you over here pushing, you trying to push, you know that they're gonna fuck over people who look just like your ass, right? These same kinds of people will really look in your face and say, no, well, you know, I'm doing it for the economy. I'm doing it for the advancement of everybody, not just black people. Girl, you're doing this shit for the advancement of yourself. Island hopping, girl. Tuition paid for. All expenses paid for. Bitch, Justin Clarence Thomas got flued out. Girl, he got bitch, where is Carisha, please? Justin Clarence Thomas got flued out, bitch. And we over here sitting out with like a fucking bowl in our hand, bitch. A cup or something, bitch. Rights, please. Can we, just one crumb of rice? Can we have 2 crumbs of rice? Can we have a bit of rice, please? Justice Clarence Thomas, bitch, he can't even hear you, bitch. He's coasting from West Coast to East Coast, bitch, not even, no coast, bitch. He's in the islands, bitch. Bitch, he circled around Jamaica 10 times. The Harlan Crow, bitch. Like, bitch, people are dying. Like, I'm so serious. Like, people are dying out here, bro. Like, parents of trans kids freaking out. People worried about getting abortions. This shit. And this bitch is flued out, girl. I mean, just reclined. He's got the shades on and everything, bitch. I mean, bitch, he sit back like this. But all of us around here just scrambling around the courts, trying to keep up with these fucking crazy ass bills. You know what I mean? All of us like, oh my God, are we gonna, is our state gonna kick us the fuck, is my black gay ass out of this shit today? Bitch, we running around, we scrambling, bitch. Justice Clarence Thomas is fucking laid back, girl. He don't give a fuck. He laid back, he said, bitch, can I have another fucking pina colada, girl? He don't give a fuck. I hate it. And he represents so many politicians in this country. I fucking hate it. All right, so let's move on and talk about DeSantis for a little bit now. I want you all to answer this question. What do you think that DeSantis looks like right here? I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, okay, we're done. This is coming from the Tampa Bay Times. Many Chinese Americans say they feel discriminated against by a DeSantis priority bill that would prohibit people domiciled in China from owning property or land in the state if they're not a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Floridians of Chinese descent have mobilized, holding protests across the state and forming the Florida Asian American Justice Alliance to fight the legislation. So that's one bill. Another bill that DeSantis is talking about, this is coming from the New Republic. The Florida legislature passed a bill Thursday that will let the state take transgender minors away from their families if they are receiving gender-affirming care. The measure now goes to the desk of Governor Ron DeSantis, who obviously is going to sign that shit. If he signs it into law, which right now it's looking like when he signs it into law, the measure will allow the state to take custody of a child if they have been subject to or are threatened with being subject to gender-affirming care, which includes puberty blockers and hormone replacement therapy. Florida courts could modify custody agreements from a different state if the minor is likely to receive gender-affirming care in that second state, which is okay. The text refers to gender-affirming care as sex reassignment, prescriptions or procedures and qualifies this care as a form of physical harm. Medical facilities would have to like give a statement saying that they don't provide these services or whatever. He's talking about threatening licenses and shit, like medical licenses, but also the bill targets trans adults. Only physicians apparently are allowed to offer gender-affirming care, not nurse practitioners, and anyone who violates the law could be charged with a misdemeanor. Minors who have already begun transitioning will be allowed to continue to do so, but they are no longer allowed to receive care via telehealth, including for prescriptions. Doctors who violate these rules or whatever could be charged with a felony. So yeah, I know that was a lot of reading, but you know, we like to get down to the facts over here. But obviously Ron DeSantis is very busy, and it's gonna be interesting seeing, just like some of the white women who voted for Trump, right? It's gonna be interesting seeing the kinds of people who champion these kinds of bills being put forth or being signed by Ron DeSantis is going to, or potentially signed by Ron DeSantis, but being put forth in the legislature in Florida and these states and stuff. Like, it's gonna be very interesting seeing these kinds of people who are cheering for it now be fucking so surprised when the same kinds of oppressive bills and shit start being created and targeting groups that they themselves may be a part of. Like, just because your ass ain't trans, or just because you are not Chinese, just speaking about these two bills that I just talked about specifically, right? Like, just because you're not a part of these groups doesn't mean that you can't be put on a chopping block later. It doesn't mean that you, first of all, aren't already on the chopping block, right? But it doesn't mean that you can't be put on the chopping block later. But yeah, like I said, watching some people who are cheering on these bills, watching them disintegrate when other bills start being created and targeting groups that they are part of is going to be a very interesting turn of events, okay? So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I know this was a very politics heavy video, but why not? You know, there have been a lot of things. We just had to talk about those two things. In general, you know, greed and corruption in politics is nothing new. But at the same time, it's just like, god damn. People out here struggling for human rights and people out here dying. And these politicians are literally flying around the world, having the time of their life, and funding their lifestyles off of taxpayer dollars on top of that. Hate to see it. Anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure, like I said, that you check out my Patreon at patreon.com/AdrianExpression. Love y'all so much. And make sure that you have a good goddamn evening.
Push screens, coming through, we making niggas switch teams. I'm feeling really pussy, got that shit in my jeans. I fly, and the guys that got their eyes on me. They hold on, wanna tussle, tell that bitch what's